All right, welcome everyone to the second live edition of the AIM Sports. Traditionally a podcast, but I guess we'll call this a vodcast, a video podcast. So I'm Martin Foster,
I like that.
and the man on my top right screen is Alex Weghorn. However, I think the end result is it gets flipped around, where I'll be on the right. But Alex, how's it going, man?
I'm living the dream, my friend. It's a little rainy out here. We had some nasty weather come in through today, so it's been dodging raindrops, or at least trying to.
All right, so we are recording. Make sure I don't hit pause recording, that it keeps recording. All right, so for everyone watching, again, this AIM Sports. If you have any type of comment or question that you want to chat in, just feel free to do so in the comment section off to the side, the live chat. In this episode, Alex and I are going to be talking a little bit about UFC. I put UFC 200 for the overall subject. However, we'll throw in some 197 because there's a lot going on with John Jones and, of course, Daniel Cormier. Oh, cool. Patrick Voss, welcome, man. So I'm just looking at who's all. Welcome, Patrick. So I get distracted very easily, so I saw something shiny.
A squirrel.
Yeah, a squirrel, something shiny. Hey, Patrick, you're watching this live from my Closet One studio. I've been in the closet for 34 years. So
You'd think being in the closet for so long, you'd be able to dress better, or at least
well, this is bonus content. This is bonus content for viewers, man. So I got my my V-neck and my Hawaii starter kit. So yeah, again, for anyone that has questions, just chat them into the side. If you can't, for people watching, you have to actually subscribe to Blab in order to chat. However, if you're watching, which you don't have to subscribe to Blab just to watch, you can just view for free or whatever without signing up. But you can also just go to our Facebook page, AIM Sports with Alex and Martin. I'll be checking that periodically through this conversation if you have any questions. Alex, I want to talk some UFC, man. Sure. Before we talk about UFC 200, because there's a lot going on with some of the there's a lot going on in sports this weekend, period. Or just I know there's a lot of the Final Fours going on right now as we speak. But however, I want to talk about some UFC just because UFC 97, the headline was supposed to be John Jones, Daniel Cormier 2. Mm-hmm. However, bad boy John Jones gets in trouble again, and then as of I believe yesterday, Cormier pulls out of the fight. So what are you thinking about that? And then John Jones has said he still wants to fight on 197, and two rumored opponents for that are Alexander Gustafsson and Rumble Johnson. So
Gotcha.
Yeah. So what are your overall thoughts on the Cormier John Jones?
Well, first,
fight. Go ahead.
Well, let me go ahead. Actually, in the time that we were setting up all of this, he will be fighting at UFC 197 in Las Vegas. He will not be fighting either Rumble or Anthony Rumble Johnson or Alexander the Mauler Gustafsson. He will be fighting Ovin St. Preux.
Nice. OSP.
So that is an official
How
fight.
recent is that news? Because I don't want to look like a jerk because I said rumored opponents. We've been setting up for the past 10 minutes or so.
I would say within the last half hour.
Okay, well,
that fight was made official, and it will be for the interim light heavyweight championship. So we will have a fake belt out there. That will happen. I don't think that this is going to be a very exciting fight. This is something that I personally would not have ever expected OSP to be in a position to make a title fight run. Okay, let's say this is a number one contender fight, basically.
Yeah.
Since it's for the interim, but OSP is number 6. Top 5 being Bader, going from 5-1, Bader, Teixeira, Gustafsson, Johnson, then Jones. Glover Teixeira is already scheduled. He's fighting April 16th, actually here in Tampa. He's going to be fighting Rashad Evans, so that fight's already made. Ryan Bader, I don't think he has a fight, but he's already fought John Jones, so that's a problem there. Gustafsson, Johnson, yeah, those fights wouldn't make sense against Jones. They've already fought, so Johnson I can't remember off the top of my head if he has already fought John Jones. Let me do my 6 seconds of.
No, Johnson has not. He's one of the few people that John Jones hasn't fought as far as. But John Jones has fought so many names as far in the overall division. Yeah. I know he beat Gustafsson, I believe, was that 2013 when he beat Gustafsson?
Yeah, September of 2013.
As in John Jones, yeah.
165, yeah.
And of the two, if John Jones were to fight either Gustafsson or Johnson, I wanted John Jones to fight Johnson for the simple fact that he's already beaten Gustafsson. Johnson's beaten Gustafsson. So it's just kind of go ahead.
Yeah. Now I will say the difference though is even though Jones had already fought Gustafsson, that would have been still a pretty good fight, most likely because there was a lot of controversy that went along with that fight. A lot of people thought that Gustafsson had won that fight. That was actually fight of the year in 2013. So,
but it was a unanimous decision, though, right?
It was. But there was a lot of controversy in the sense that there were a lot of people who were not judging that thought that it definitely could have gone Gustafsson's way. So, but again, bottom line, he is going to be fighting OSP at UFC 197 on April 23rd. So with that, we have to basically just take it as it is. I personally, as I said, I don't feel that that's going to be a very exciting fight. OSP lost to Ryan Bader when UFC Maine, their first fight up in Maine. We're going to have other fights to look forward to. The co-main event is a championship fight. That's Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson versus Henry Cejudo, who's a Olympic caliber wrestler. Anthony Pettis is on this card against Barboza. So there's going to be some other fights to watch, but I would say out of the entire card, the most exciting potentially is going to be either the Pettis Barboza fight or the Johnson Cejudo fight. Take it as it is. I'm personally looking forward mainly to the April 16th fight. That's UFC on Fox 19 here in Tampa. But
yeah, you'll have some hookup access with that one.
Yeah, my boss with Knockout Radio and Talking Sports Network, we're going to be covering that event, so we'll be credentialed and live there. Here in the Tampa Bay area, the workouts, the open workouts for the media and the fans are going to be at Tigers World in Tampa. So that's something that we're very much looking forward to. Actually, Randy was a significant part of how that happened and why that happened. He was actually the one that put together the media tour when Tony Ferguson and Rashad Evans were in town just last month. So that was a very cool thing to happen, being a mover and shaker here in the local area. But definitely big things coming to the Tampa Bay area. Looking forward to that. Have a couple other things coming up before then. So we'll get there, but I'll be able to definitely talk more about that experience. This will be my third UFC event covering something like that, I think. So we'll be able to share that experience with everybody, either through the podcast or if we're able to do another blab session and talk to everybody through the live through blab. So
all right, so for people just joining us, looks like the viewers are jumping up a little. This is the Aim Sports Podcast, and on a special Saturday episode, I'm wearing a V-neck for everyone's viewing pleasure. If you like what I'm wearing, there's this little symbol right here in the bottom of my screen. Just click that. That's called props. So that's how you give me props. That's saying a little what. So I'm gonna go ahead and click myself. So I like what I'm wearing right now. I can't click for myself.
I hate it when you can't click yourself.
Yeah, but I clicked for you. Give you props. I'll be checking. Well, we're talking UFC in this episode. I'll be checking the Facebook page. If you're unable to chat comments onto the side, just go to my personal Facebook page if we're friends. If not, just go to the AIM Sports with Alex and Martin Facebook page. Just type it on the wall, and I'll be checking that wall periodically throughout the show and do my best to answer your question. All right, so we talked a little bit about UFC 197. I want to kind of skip ahead, jump over 198, 199.
Whoa. Hold on. We can't skip over 198.
Well, go ahead.
What's happening at 198, right?
What's happening?
We have a Cyborg fight in the UFC.
That's right. Yeah. So that's right. So,
yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you think Dana White's going to build that or create a 145-pound division around her?
Well, first off, I do want to say that just a couple episodes ago, I did happen to say that.
Yep. Your bold prediction.
Cyborg was going to fight. I thought it was going to be for a title, but I'll take any fight in the UFC right now, even though it is at a catch weight of 140.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is what it is. That's a big deal just because of the history between the UFC and Invicta. They've been working together for a while. I think actually Zuffa owns Invicta. And having Cyborg fighting in Invicta continually. And this is the first fight that she's going to be fighting under the UFC banner. So, big deal, even though it is at 140, not 135. I think a lot is going to ride on just how everything comes together for this fight. It's not necessarily going to be a straight, okay, we're going to make a 145 weight division.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be something that's going to take a little bit of time to sort of figure out how everything goes with 140 first. And especially not only for Cyborg, but for both fighters in this sense, just how they do fighting at 140.
Yeah.
Leslie Smith is going to be not having to cut quite as much weight, while Cyborg is going to have to cut more weight. And so it's going to be a good indicator as to whether or not Cyborg, because bottom line, she is the one that they're going to be building all this stuff around.
Yeah.
So they have to make sure that either she is going to be able to fight lower than 145. If so, can she make it and perform at 135? If not, then okay, they might go ahead and try to do a 145 division and see who they can find for that. They might have some people who are in the 135 that decide to jump ship and go to 145 so they don't have to cut as much weight. Depends on how heavy they are when they are walking around, when they're not getting ready for a fight, and just how they feel they perform 10 pounds heavier. I think this is a very fluid situation. They're going to see how things go and figure out exactly where to go from there. But obviously, in a perfect world, I would say that Cyborg makes the weight just fine, does well against Leslie Smith, and then if she says, okay, I cut down 5 extra pounds, made it to weigh-ins, did fine. Let's cut another 5 pounds off, get to 135. If she makes it into the 135 and gets a fight or two, then we possibly could see Rousey, Holm, Tate, Cyborg, some little bit of mix up there.
How about that, man? That would be a little that would be some good matchups for some pay-per-views.
There could be, yeah. And again, you don't want to get to the point where you have like Rousey Tate 1. That was just a destruction. Rousey Tate 2, another destruction. So it's hard to build for a trilogy fight now that Rousey has lost once. Now that makes it a little bit more amenable, and especially now that Tate has the belt. But other things have to happen first. You don't want to get into that same situation with any of the other ones. You don't want Cyborg to demolish everybody, and then it's like there's nobody else to fight.
Yeah.
Type deal. So there's a good and a bad here. So, but we also could run into a potential where if, let's say, Tate can't hold the belt for very long, if Holly wins it back, or Rousey gets back, or if whatever the situation is, at some point in time, to me, this also extends careers too, because if you have fighters that don't have their income streams set up outside of the UFC, like Rousey does, she can choose to stop fighting when she's done fighting at 135.
Yeah.
But if you have Holm or Tate or somebody like that who can't compete quite as well at 135 because it's hard to make the weight, then this gives them another weight division to fight in to extend their careers, again, if they decide to go in the direction of 145.
I like that point. That's a good point, kind of extended careers, because Ronda Rousey's definitely made a nice little sum of money for herself outside of the octagon.
Sure. With
Cyborg, if she were to fight Rousey, do you think she would just totally own Big Ronda? Rowdy Ronda?
You asked me that question before we saw Ronda lose.
Yeah.
That's a harder question to answer. Now that we have seen a loss for Rousey and we know the blueprint, depends on how smart Cyborg is as a fighter. If she takes the feedback that she saw during the home fight and says, okay, I need to do that, then I think that not only does she win, but she could win fairly easily. So I think that she has a better chance of beating Rousey now that Rousey has lost, than beforehand. Although a lot of people come back even stronger after a loss. So that's another thing you have to look at, is how much growth is happening with Ronda as a fighter now that she has this loss. Because you don't learn until you lose.
Yeah. But check the little Facebook wall in case I see anyone any questions. No questions at this time.
So that's going to be very interesting to see at 198. We have till May 14th for that, so that's going to be very much highly anticipated. Then June 4th is 199 in Inglewood, California. That's the Rockhold Weidman card, as well as Dominic Cruz versus Uriah Faber. So that's actually a fairly large card in that sense. But as you said, UFC 200. That's what everybody's talking about right now.
Yeah. So okay. So now we got Cyborg out of the way. Now I did want to talk about Cyborg just because she's intriguing, and she's kind of like that dark cloud hanging over the women's division for in the past when Ronda Rousey. And don't get me wrong, I'm on a Ronda Rousey bandwagon. I've always been a fan of her. I understand a lot of people don't like her for how brash she is, but I think she's great. But it was kind of one of those things where, you know, Ronda would claim to be the best, and you have Cyborg kind of just in the shadows of that dark cloud. And it's like, well, we haven't fought yet, and so. But I'm glad to see Cyborg. She's going to be in the UFC at least for one fight anyway, and just the it's just as exciting. I want to see what she does. Moving on,
questions that could be answered.
Yeah, a lot of questions that could be answered. So moving on to UFC 200, there's a lot of big names on that card. So. Obviously, Diaz McGregor 2 was just announced. I don't like the fight either. I think it's stupid. And we're going to have another non-title. It's just a fight, you know, there's nothing to gain for, you know, it's just, I don't know, it's stupid. So I would have loved to see Aldo McGregor 2. But
yes.
Yeah. No. But actually, Aldo's going to fight at Frankie Edgar on that card, right?
The co-main event, yes.
Yeah, the co-main event. So what are you thinking? How are you feeling about that?
It's going to be a good fight. I think that this is the best way that they could have allowed Frankie to get his name actually in there. Man, this thing keeps on falling out. Driving me nuts. All right, there we go. This is their opportunity to allow Frankie to do his thing. He has, in the opinion of many, definitely deserved a shot for the belt. In my opinion, he should have had a chance at the belt against Aldo before Conor did. So that's pretty upsetting to me that Frankie didn't get that chance earlier on. So he's been very deserving of the of an opportunity ever since then. And it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to be able to fight against Aldo, especially now that Aldo's not the champ. He was champion for he hadn't lost a fight in 10 years.
Yeah.
He had the belt forever. So being able to, again, how much learning is Aldo going to be able to do? He was a little bit different situation though, because you don't learn much when you have a fight that is over in 14 seconds because it's a one-punch knockout.
Yeah.
You don't get to see either one try to execute a game plan. So in my opinion, I thought that Aldo should have had the automatic rematch from the very beginning. Absolutely.
And I think fans deserve that too.
Sure, yeah, because we didn't see that fight happen.
Yeah.
We didn't. It wasn't a situation where it went into the second round like the Holm Rousey fight, where it went into the second round, and from Jump Street, pretty much from after the first minute and a half of the first round, Holm just distanced herself and separated herself, and worked Ronda like a job from the very beginning.
Yeah,
that is a dominant performance. That's when something like that happens. Then that's when you say, you know what? There's no automatic rematch there. But you have somebody comes in, left hook, that's it, game over. Then yeah, you have to have that rematch. But Frankie is a very, very good fighter, and I think that he has a chance to give Aldo two losses in a row.
I have a friend who loves Frankie Edgar for the simple fact that Edgar beat BJ Penn. It was a while ago, but that's the whole reason why he likes Frankie Edgar. He's like, oh, he beat BJ Penn. Before I want to talk a little bit about the Cain Velasquez Travis Brown fight. Before we do that, I see you got those nice medals in the background, man. So are those your podcast medals, like just hanging up?
They
like
are.
You're just showing up like, best podcast, South Florida, aired live on Saturday, 2016.
Yeah, there we go.
That's awesome.
From my military career, got those, and then from my physique competitions / golf tournament wins.
Nice.
From that. No, one of them is from Airman Leadership School.
Nice.
The one that everybody gets, so that's not too big. But
I have ribbons too, but they all say final group, or I have ribbons too, and they all say final group or thanks for participating. Like, it's so weird, man.
Good job.
Yeah, good job.
Good job. 9th
place. It's so weird seeing you, man. Because usually we record over Skype audio without the video, so it's good seeing your pretty face, my man.
Well, I shaved just for you.
Well, I didn't shave, so I spent earlier today at a Make-A-Wish charity event. So
you told me about that.
So some kid flew out here all the way from Maine because he runs. He's a track runner.
Okay.
And he has a type of respiratory illness, and I guess it's pretty bad. But he still continues to run, and he runs very well. And one of the things, he likes to run marathons and all that kind of thing. So as part of Make-A-Wish, they sent him. He's like, well, they'll send me wherever. So he chose Hawaii because it's someplace that he's not really good. Yeah. So, and it's not something, he's going to try to, is it Maine? And it's far away from Maine. It's something different. So, so he ran a 10K today. So I think, what is that, like 6.2 miles or whatever it is? He ran in 37 minutes. So, and this kid has a respiratory, like some serious disease, or whatever. So, it was quite impressive. I was
absolutely. I just ran a 5K 2 months ago. I think it was 1 month ago, and that was in 35 minutes. And he ran twice as far in less time. That's awesome. That makes me feel amazing, by the way.
But he doesn't have 8% body fat like you do. So, are you at 6? Are you lower than 8?
No.
Oh, you're like.
No, I'm higher than 8 right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk Travis Brown, Cain Velasquez.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I'm asking you your thoughts on all these fights because as much as I watch sports, and I watch a ton of sports, I'm very knowledgeable in a lot of sports. I watch a lot of mixed martial arts, UFC. However, mixed martial arts is definitely your realm. It's something you on your actual full-time job, you deal a lot with talking to fighters and going to events and all that. So you're my MMA guy. You're the expert in my world for it, so my go-to source. So talk to me about Cain Velasquez, Travis Brown.
Cain Velasquez, Travis Brown, going to be a very good fight. I think that Travis Brown has a really good shot at beating Cain. One thing that we always talk about with Cain is, and this is something that we still have to talk about because this fight isn't until July 9th, is will he even fight? I mean, he's been hurt so often. He fights once, he gets hurt once, he fights. I mean, it's almost like he was Dominic Cruz. He gets hurt so much. By the way, Dominic Cruz is probably going to pop an ACL after his fight. And so he'll be on the shelf for a while. But that's just me being cynical. I think Cain is, as long as he stays healthy, he's got a good chance. Obviously, strong striker, even better wrestler. But how healthy does he actually stay going throughout his camp? Brown, a little bit more mixed in his style. He is Muay Thai, BJJ, along with wrestling. So he also trains at the Glendale Fight Club, and he works with Jackson's MMA. So obviously, great coaching. He's been off and on recently. He's 2-2 in his last 4.
Yeah.
So, and then with Cain, his last fight, it was a loss when he lost the championship to Fabricio Verdum, and Fabricio Verdum is also somebody that Travis Brown lost to. So they have a common opponent there. They lost to both of them fairly recently as well. So you'd have to think, at least I do, that skill-wise, they're roughly in the same spot. Travis Brown is 7th in the division, while Cain, just coming off the loss to Fabricio, is considered the number 1 contender. So, I again, the health issues with Cain, that's the biggest thing that pops up for me. I think Travis has a really, really good shot. Plus, I think that the out of the ring situation for Travis right now could be either beneficial or there's a pro and con. Beneficial in the fact that he it adds a little bit more fuel to the fire.
Yeah,
and helps him get through. How do I want to say it? Just any adversity that comes through the fight. I know that he's a very tough fighter. The fight when he lost to Fabricio Verdum was actually in Orlando. That was an event that I covered. That was UFC on Fox 11, I think. Went there, saw that fight. He cracked a rib in the first round, and it was a 5-round number 1 contender fight in the main event. So obviously a tough guy. From there, Fabricio kind of owned him from about midway through the first on. But again, having that fighting through a broken rib is not easy. But there's also the thought process that any off the field, if you will, outside the cage problems can help the opponent because it's a distraction. And there's been a lot of the talk about Rousey and her and Brown are together. Travis Brown actually recently tweeted out a picture. I think it was more of like a throwback Thursday thing. I don't know if he was intentionally trying to do this, but it was a picture from when he beat Brendan Schaub, which is Rousey's ex-boyfriend. So there was a little bit ado made about this, whether or not he was trying to send a message. Just her current boyfriend beating up her ex-boyfriend type deal. I don't know. That's just something that had been talked about a little bit. So
I like looking forward to these future fights, but at the same time, I get so excited when I see certain names on the card. But then when it seems like it never fails in UFC, someone always gets hurt at the last minute, or even like that day, the injury bug, and it's not even just the lower cards. It seems like it always affects the main event or the co-main event, the upper card. Before we close out today, before we wrap this up, looking at the card, I got to ask you, there's one familiar name on that card. So
yeah,
let's talk. Yeah, so let's talk about it, man. How do you think he bounces back? Who are we talking about, Alex?
I think you're going with. Wait a minute, hold on.
There's two names.
There's two names that jump out, and both of them are coming off of losses. So
let's talk about your favorite fighter of all time.
So Johnny Hendricks,
the man himself, the legend, Big Rig.
Thought you were talking about.
But you also thought Sage Northcutt's on there too.
I know you're a big Sage Northcutt fan too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he's exciting, man.
Yeah, he's definitely exciting, but that both guys are exciting. But again, both of them are coming off of losses. If you go back to the record of Johnny Hendricks, it's been since he got to the championship level of the welterweight division. Since then, it's been on and off. So lost his first attempt at the championship against GSP. Got another shot at the vacant belt against Robbie Lawler. Won. Fought Lawler again. Lost. Fought Matt Brown. Won. Fought Stephen Thompson in February of this year. Lost.
Yep.
That
was a shocker. Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially the fact that it was a TKO. He has an iron jaw. So to be TKO'd, especially against a guy like Stephen Thompson, though Wonder Boy is a very prolific striker, to me was and to a lot of people was just pretty crazy to see. So hopefully he's able to come back from that. He's fighting Kelvin Gastelum, who he in his own right is a very very accomplished fighter.
Absolutely.
11-2 his last fight, though it was a loss. It was a split decision loss to Neil Magny. There was some that was actually fight of the night, and that was his return to middleweight, or excuse me, welterweight. He has had weight issues in the past, so especially if you're going through the Wikipedia and you look at the notes for all his fights, for his last 5, it's missed weight, performance of the night, missed weight, return to middleweight, return to welterweight. So a lot of different stuff going on. So if he's able to make sure he gets his weight issues handled, I think he'll do okay. But this is actually kind of a toss-up just because of the way Johnny lost his last fight with that TKO.
You always got to wonder if the confidence is shook after that.
Sure, yeah, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decisions in a row. 2 of them being split decisions, but 5 decisions in a row. He's used to fighting, and 3 of those 5 were all 5-rounders. So you know that he can handle the championship rounds. His cardio shouldn't be an issue. This is not a 5-round fight. So he should be good to go for that. The last fight for Gastelum was his only 5-round fight of his career. And that was a split decision. So I still think Johnny has the upper hand when it comes to cardio and being able to give more effort earlier on in the fight and not have to worry about saving up for later. So I personally have Johnny in this fight. I think his experience is gonna help him in this situation.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad we were able to tag up and do a live show, a live stream, and so
I like this blab thing. I know that you had already done one. I was not able to do the first one. That was with Brandon Niles. I did watch it, and that was a great episode that you guys did.
Thanks.
I liked watching it, and it's good to be on one now, and look forward to doing more of them.
Yeah, it's very interactive, and in the future, I look forward to having more people not only view but just kind of ask questions. And there's also a Blab feature where they can actually 2 more people can call in should we choose. So, it's a good way to get more people involved. It could be a party. So, all right, everyone, that's all the time we have today. Mostly because I have to go watch the Final Four. OU's playing right now, so I'm picking. OU's playing Villanova right now, and I don't even know the score of the game, man. I'm recording the game, so I'm gonna go back because I was out doing some family stuff earlier, so I have to.
Do you want me to tell you the score of the game right now?
No, I do not. No. So, yeah. But OU's got a tremendous guard, Buddy Hield. He's phenomenal. He's fun to watch. But that's all the time we have today. If you want more, you can like our Facebook page. Just look for AM Sports with Alex and Martin. You can find us on Twitter. Our handle is @AM Sports Guys. You can also check out our website, amsportsguys.com. And if you want to watch a replay of this video and leave comments on the YouTube channel, just go to YouTube, just search in the window, AM Sports with Alex and Martin. And it's a channel that I created, so you'll find a couple of videos on there. And, of course, comments would be appreciated. So if you have negative comments, don't send them to me because I don't really give a shit. So, yeah. So if people aren't, like my boy Mike Wells says, if people aren't hating, you're not doing anything right. So, all right, everyone, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Take care.